I really wanted middle school kids, especially like sixth graders, where you just have like such an obvious juxtaposition of innocence opposite this like psycho guy. And so I really wanted real kids. I didn't want like Disney kids. And Jamie Ember, our casting director, like Alex and I told her, I was like, I want to go like interview. I want to like, because I went to school in LA, and I was like, I want it to be really reflective, honestly, of like the LA Unified School District. Like I want it to be really diverse and like to have these like, I want to hire kids that are just those characters. And she was like, we don't have time to go around. We have 2 weeks. Because like it's like crazy. You're looking for money for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then once you have the money, it's like, okay, you have like 2 days to prep it and then 1 day to shoot it and like 3 days to edit it. Yeah, literally.
People like it.
Yeah.
I'm your daddy.
I can be smart when it's important.
I'm your daddy. I'm
sorry to this
I'm your daddy.
Welcome to Daddy Dailies, a podcast hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films. On a film set, dailies are sent out after a shoot day so you can see the work in progress. Daddy Dailies are conversations that go behind the scenes so you can see what work went into the process and be better armed to succeed in the industry. Daddy Dailies, hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films.
Me.
Okay. Welcome back to Daddy Dailies. Not sure why we went with finger guns today, but here we are.
I do that every time I'm uncomfortable. When I have to talk to my boss, I go to his office and I'm like, does that sound good? And then I'm like, what are you doing? Or like a big double thumbs up.
Yeah, so Daddy Dailies. I am Carly Tamarin.
I'm Vika Stubblebine, and we have a true daddy on the pod today. We have Giselle Bonilla, who received her MFA in directing from AFI, the American Film Institute here in Los Angeles. Her thesis film, The Bullfighter, won the Student Directors Guild of America Grand Prize Award and received special mention for Best Comedy at the Palm Springs Shortsfest. We screened The Bullfighter in, I think, our second year of doing Not Your Daddy's Films.
Yeah.
And we're like so blown away with your point of view and your vision. And I think that the more shorts I watch, the more I realize how unique it is for someone to like have such a clear voice in their work. So early in your career, I mean, you've done a lot, but like you're so young, and I just found that super, super impressive.
That was our best screening. That was the most fun.
Oh, yay, thanks. Everyone, come to Not Your Daddy's Films events.
That was my favorite when people ask me, well, sorry, everyone else, when people are like, do you have a favorite? Yours, like The Bullfighter, always comes to mind first.
Yeah.
Aww.
It's just so kooky. And I love it.
It's very inventive.
It's one of those where it's like you feel seen for your own strange like humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I understand you.
Yeah. So it's no surprise that Giselle is also a Latino Film Institute and Netflix Inclusion Fellow, Telluride, I can speak English, Telluride FilmLAB Fellow, and an alum of the Sundance Institute as an Ignite and Adobe Fellow. Her feature directorial debut, The Musical, premiered in U.S. Dramatic Competition at the 2026 Sundance Film Festival and is based on a short of the same title that we also screened in 2025, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So that is a short turnaround, which we'll talk about. She and her crew made while AFI. The feature was executive produced by her mentors, director Jonathan Levine and producer Gillian Bohrer. I was right and I second guessed it. And producer Gillian Bohrer. The musical stars Tony Award winner Will Brill, Gillian Jacobs, and is produced by and starring Rob Lowe. Is it Gillian?
Mm-hmm.
Gillian Jacobs. Sorry, Gillian, if you're listening to this, I will never forget again. So we're going to talk about the musical today. So before we get too excited and jump right in, I just want to give the listeners the log line because as of now, the feature isn't available just yet. It is, the logline is a frustrated playwright and middle school theater teacher finds out his ex-girlfriend has started dating his nemesis, the school's principal. He decides to ruin the principal's chances of winning the blue ribbon of academic excellence. This short freaking crushed at our screening, which your production designer, like, we do a little panel and Q&A, and she got up there and talked about working with you, and everyone just died because it straddles this line of like is this okay to laugh at kind of humor at times? In the short, they're making a musical about a very tragic American event, and it's very, very funny.
You say it like that.
Well, it was like, is that a spoiler?
I like that. It's very elusive.
It's very elusive.
Yeah.
So I guess to start off with, between the Bullfighter and the musical The Shorts, the Bullfighter you also wrote, and then the musical was written by Alexander Heller.
Yeah.
So how do you approach working with a writer like Alex? Do you take the script and run with it, or is it more of a collaborative process?
It was
he on set? Yeah.
It was super collaborative. We made the short for the musical before the Bullfighter. Bullfighter was my second year thesis film, and the musical was like a first year production exercise. But Alex had already written the feature version of it, and so we were gonna treat let's use the money that AFI is giving us to make a proof of concept.
Love that.
And my boyfriend edited the short and was also one of the editors for the feature.
Very well edited.
Which the only reason I mentioned he's my boyfriend is because of that. We saw the footage and the short and submitted it to Proof Film Festival, because I was like, oh, it's a new festival. I don't think any of the school will find out about it. But American Cinematheque released a lineup of the films, and the school found out about it. And so, but it was like, what are you gonna do? Take away my degree? I don't know. It was after we graduated. Okay. So it was like,
what are they
it was
gonna
just
do?
like a.
You were like, who's this? I don't speak English.
I know. And we ended up getting the audience award.
Yeah.
And that got us the financing for the feature. So that's how I'm like, if we didn't break the rule, I would think we'd still be out looking for money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, Proof.
Yeah, because they screened to executives and financiers.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like, I told them it was not really a film festival. It's like we were trying to make the movie, and they knew we were trying to make the movie. So they were like,
does AFI produce for their students? Like, if you had been like, we want to turn this short into a feature, would they have ever come on board as producers?
No, they're a conservatory, so you just make so much there, and it was a great experience because I went to NYU for undergrad, and NYU doesn't give you money for your shorts, so there was a huge disparity of who was able to make shorts and who was working in a restaurant the whole time they were there. And so the first year everyone gets I think it's $7,000 or $6,000 each for each short, and you make 3 in your first year. So the first one, so the first one in our year was director led. So I pitched, and you find a producer, whatever, but you're not allowed to work with the same people twice in the first year.
Interesting.
And so Alex and I there were a few comedy people there, but I really wanted to work with him. He was one of the only comedy producers, and who wanted to do that. And because we wouldn't be allowed to work together again, he had already had the idea for the musical, and he was like, I have something that I want to do with you, but I want to wait till we can do. And I was like, okay, this guy just doesn't want to work with me. And I was like, sure.
What is that voice in our heads that we're like,
I know.
No,
I'm like, okay, this guy hates me. And then when it was his turn, he was in the producing track to pitch. I heard what it was about, and I was like, I'm not doing this. It's crazy. I can't pull that off. That's I'm gonna offend everybody. And then I started going through, it's basically the guy does a middle school musical production of 9/11 to ruin the principal's chances of ever winning the Blue Ribbon of Academic Excellence.
So he's trying to make something offensive because he knows the parents are all going to come and wants the principal to get fired. Exactly.
Yeah. And so I was like, there's no way I can do that in a short. It's going to just piss everybody off. But then Alex was like, but we're not allowed to go to festivals, so you only piss 26 people off. If you're going to test it out, you should try it here. And I was like, no. And then, so then he wasn't going to do it. And then I started going through a breakup. And I was like, oh, I think I have an angle. So I just focused on that mania you kind of go through post-breakup when you oscillate between wanting to get back with and back at your ex at the same time, and that descent into madness. And so we just took that angle, and that's what we did with the short.
Was that in the short script to begin with?
The breakup? Yeah. Okay. That was in there, but I couldn't see it as a motive until I experienced it.
Yes.
And that's why lived experience makes you a better
you gotta
artist.
have to life.
Yeah, exactly. And so he had already written the feature, and then we just spent all of between first and second year meeting constantly in the summer with him and our other producer Finley Brown, who was in the program, just like acting out the whole film in his kitchen and like all sharing like traumatic breakup stories or like relationship stories. And literally just like as a kid when you just like play different parts in your house constantly. And while Alex was furiously typing. So it was very collaborative.
Cool.
And I don't think I would have survived production had he not. He was also a producer on it, Alex. Whenever he wasn't on set, I would freak out because I needed like the person I trusted to be like, this is funny, right? This is funny. This is working. And he and I are so close, and he's so not precious about anything. So if things weren't working, we would just like immediately start workshopping with the actors. And so it was and then he would type and then print out new sides. So it was very fun and freeing that way, where it felt like you're making a movie with your friends.
Did you guys have rehearsal process as well?
No, we couldn't afford rehearsal. What do you think this is?
We just like had the kids.
Yeah, I know.
We had
a 13 kid troupe of like 10, 11-year-olds. And I was
for the short.
For the feature.
For the feature.
For the short, we only had like 5 kids.
Still was a lot of
They
kids.
were amazing though.
Yeah. I know. Those kids are all like in college now, so we couldn't bring them. No, they were like, we made the short in 2022. And so now those kids are like in high school. And I really wanted middle school kids, especially like 6th graders, where you just have like such an obvious juxtaposition of innocence opposite this like psycho guy. And so I really wanted real kids. I didn't want like Disney kids. And Jamie Ember, our casting director, like Alex and I told her, I was like, I want to go like interview. I want to like, because I went to school in LA, and I was like, I want it to be really reflective, honestly, of like the LA Unified School District. Like I want it to be really diverse and like to have these like, I want to hire kids that are just those characters. And she was like, we don't have time to go around. We have 2 weeks. Because like it's like crazy. You're looking for money for 3 years. And then once you have the money, it's like, okay, you have like 2 days to prep it and then 1 day to shoot it and like 3 days to edit it. Yeah, literally.
People like it.
Yeah. So she was like, trust me. And I had no choice but to trust her. And then we didn't want the kids to like be fully rehearsed or over workshopped. And so we just asked them a question of like describing their favorite art piece and what they wish they could have done better. Or if they're proud of it, like say why. And these kids were so funny. Like I could edit a documentary off of, like there was one kid who ended up playing the teacher's assistant in the feature, and his audition tape, he was like setting up the camera himself, and like his parents are remodeling the house in the background. So there's just like constant drilling, and he's trying to tell me about his art project, and I could see him having like a nervous breakdown and like being so anxious about the drilling. And he was just always like, I'm really sorry about that. They're remodeling the kitchen. And like, you could just tell like his anxiety was so contagious, and it was so amazing and perfect for the role. And you could tell that he wanted to be, to like act and not like have like some crazy setup with like a parent who's like drilled the sides into him. And it was, and he was so cute in the movie.
How do you keep that consistent? Like if that's the audition, like how do you
keep it fresh?
But like with kids, like did you find that there were any little tricks to directing kids in particular? I feel like it is such a specific thing.
I know. It's funny that Rob ended up doing this Rob Lowe, because I had studied the way that Coppola cast The Outsiders, and he had just written like a scene that wasn't in the movie, and it was like a 1-page thing, and asked all the people that came in for like callbacks or testing, I don't know what it was, and they all memorized the same thing, and they'd switch roles. And so I think just keeping the like idea of like Alex and I were doing, just playing in your living room, and like switching it up, and if something wasn't working, oftentimes it was because like a parent or somebody had rehearsed it into them. So then there was one point where I like had to talk to the parents to say like, don't practice with them. Like just have them memorize the lines without any emotion. And so we did that for the callbacks because we couldn't afford rehearsal. We brought in 30 kids in person and did that with one pair of sides. And we did a 6-hour session with all of the kids where it was like camp, where we started with like a group improv.
Had so much fun.
And then group choreography. And then we did the scenes and like taped everything. And it was so fun. And because I wanted them to have like shared memories before we were on set. So that they can have their own friendships. But so that, because it's gonna be so tense and awkward. And so we did that, and then by the time we got to set, all the kids were so excited to see some of each other again. And a lot of them had never acted before, and some of them had only been, if they had, they'd been like the only kid on set.
Right.
And so it was like, it was so I lost my voice.
I like got so loud.
It was so loud.
How do you wrangle them?
I was like,
is there a wrangler?
I'm surprised that the parents let me yell at these kids. I was like, we're here to work. And I was like, stop smiling at the camera. Don't look at the camera.
Oh my God.
And it was like,
all these little kids
the
just
camera.
like spiking.
Literally.
Oh my God.
And so, and like the best performances we got were, if we got lucky, we only had like 4 days where we got to do 2 cameras. But the best performances we got was when somebody was doing their like scene and we had the camera roaming around to different kids. Those react, because those kids are just like this.
They're not paying attention.
They're like, I don't need to.
And it's like the most incredible, like little Marlon Brandos, because I'm like, yes, I just need you to be a kid.
Yeah.
And
Cute.
yeah, it was really fun.
Wow.
But it was so exhausting. The first week of production, I got like deathly ill.
No.
And I was like, first feature, I'm gonna die. I'm so sick. I had like a crazy fever, and like you can't take a sick day.
No.
You're just like, and then this kid Tanner came up to me, who plays Osama bin Jackson. He came up to me, and it was like he grabbed my sleeve and he goes, Miss Giselle, and I was like, what's up? And with like a 9 what do they call them? Yeah. I had one of those.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's up? And he was like, is your throat scratchy? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I had that last week. And then like skipped. And I was like, oh, you gave it to me at the callbacks. And so from then on, I was like, Tanner was patient 0. But it was so fun. They were so funny.
Oh my God.
So did any more of your crew besides you, well, your editor, you, Alex Heller, did more, like, did
Allie McWhorter, who was the PD on the short, was the art director on the feature. Cool. Tudo, who is the cinematographer on the short, also shot the feature.
Amazing.
Alex Heller, Finley Brown producing, me, and then our sound mixer from the short was our sound mixer on set.
Was that hard, or because they liked the short so much, your financiers, like, did you have to get fight for any of these people?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I was like, this is the only hill I'll die on. I said it like 7 times. This is the only hill I'll die on. But it was like, especially for that.
Good for you for advocating for them, though. Yeah.
Well, that's why I really, really pushed to shoot in LA, because if we were going to shoot anywhere else,
then you have
I would have to hire a local crew.
Yeah.
And we still got to do union, and we got to do like a pre-negotiation with the union to bring on the original crew and then have the rest of the crew be union.
Wow, yeah.
Love that.
And because of that, all of my crew can now be in the union.
I was gonna say, so you basically, it's like when you're an actor, which I know you were, getting your SAG card.
Yeah.
You have to work. It's different for every union. Like, I'm in the WGA, and you have to like write literally like a certain amount of pages. Essentially, it's like you have to. I got in the WGA with my second TV episode. The first one I was just like pre-WGA. And then at SAG, you have to work a certain number of projects to get it. But it's so much harder. Like, ADs have to work in another state to like get there.
Really?
You know? They have to have a certain number of hours outside of their.
Yeah, you really, crazy. What the Jews would call a mitzvah. That was a good deed.
Yeah.
That was a good deed that you did for everybody.
It was necessary because we had like no time to prep or shoot it. And
get people on track
just like
with
having
what it was.
to be able to talk to people like telepathically and them just understand what you want. And like having done the short, we were all kind of prepping the feature for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, these people all know how to do it. And because it was all of our like first features, it was like people that would like kill to prove themselves and do a good job, that I knew that they were going to like really bring it. And it was like, I did it with the, like, I understand that it's risky for a financier, and I'm so grateful that they like, let us work with the homies. But it was like, I told them, I was like, you can always fire them. Like, just give them a shot.
Yeah.
And like, and so we like, there were backups, and I had to interview people, and like, I just was like, just give them a shot. And no one got fired. Everyone did a good job.
There you go.
Yeah. And so that was, I was really grateful that I got to have them on the set.
Yeah.
So before we started recording, you said Rob Lowe saved the movie.
Yeah.
Can you
explain?
Can you tell us like how it really went from short to feature? Because you got the money from Proof Film Festival. Did you get meetings and stuff off of that as well?
When is Proof again? Like, what's that timeline
ours was in
there?
October. I don't know when it was this year. Ours was only the second Proof, and it was like
yeah.
Alex Heller had already reached out preliminary to the CEO of Unapologetic because they both went to Colgate, and he was like hustling. Alex is such a hustler and just like cold emailed everybody in the industry. We had like 271 meetings of no's for financing, but everyone was like really supportive. In every meeting we were like, who else do you think would be into this project? Try to get another one, because we're just so outside of it. We had no reps at the time, and it was just like, and I was working as an assistant to Gillian Bohrer and Jonathan Levine.
Amazing.
And for like 2.5, 3 years. And Jonathan also went to AFI, and he told me my first day on the job, he was like, I made my first feature within a year of graduating AFI. There's no reason you can't do the same. And I was like, okay, crazy person. I was like, we're in a strike. I feel attacked. Okay. I know.
That's crazy.
And he was like, if you do a good job, like, I'll help you make your movie. And so I just like put that in the back of my head and didn't bother him about it. And I was like hustling for money on the side, so that when it happened, I could be like, remember what you said?
Did he know the whole process you were going through while it was happening?
Yeah. I mean, he was always busy, like, in Germany shooting, like, 9 Perfect Strangers or whatever, so I wasn't really bothering him. But, like, Gillian and I became super close, especially during the strike. There was, like, nothing really going on. So she watched all of my stupid shorts.
They are not stupid.
Amazing.
Dear reader, dear gentle reader, they are not. Yeah.
But, like, because of that, like, few months of like being like, I don't know what's happening, we might lose our overall deal, I don't know, and somehow we survived. We got to know each other very well, and then Jonathan had seen, I think he saw the Bullfighter before he hired me, because he really wanted to hire a director to assist him. And then he saw the musical when he knew I wanted to make it as a feature. But it was like those things, the assistant relationship is so like, you have to like, I will pick up all of your dog shit and like not say anything. Like, I'll be the best assistant ever because of what you just told me.
Oh, 100%.
And like, and I didn't want to waste like the ask. And so I wanted to wait to make it real on my own, to show that I was hustling. Yeah. And then when Unapologetic put in, they do 50% financing, and when they put in their offer last January, I immediately called Jonathan and I told him, I was like, I really want your help to make this legitimate. Like, would you come on officially, like, as my mentor as an EP? Wow. And he was like, yeah, 1000%. And so he and Gillian both came on. I told Gillian, whatever, I like really love them and appreciate them, because he was like good on his word and like was like, yeah, use my name. Yeah. That's how WME got involved, and because they were rep there. And
now you're rep there, right?
That's where this like Rob situation comes in,
because and Rob is repped there
because because we
Our
had somebody else
Rob.
attached.
Dear Your friend.
Oh,
we had somebody else attached to play Principal Brady.
Oh,
and he got offered another movie like 10 days before production started, which was like fine.
Were you freaking out or no?
I was I was like Stepford wife freaking out, where I was like, we will move forward. Like, it's gonna be, I literally turned into a Stepford wife. And then I didn't want any of the crew to find out. I'm like, don't worry, it's getting sorted. Like, we have we had nobody. And I just texted all of my assistant friends from like every agency and was like, I know you want to be an agent, help me find a replacement, And like I manically, there were a lot of manic texts that went out during pre-production. And I sent that out, whatever, we lost that guy. We're still prepping, everything's going forward, we're gonna find a replacement. And then we had a different woman attached to play Abigail, the ex-girlfriend, and her agents found out that he was out and they pulled her out 5 days before production. And now it's like, and we had money attached with the idea that they were starring in the film, and so now it's like the line producer sends a scary email that we have to tell the crew tomorrow, and we're like officially shutting down. We cannot keep spending money in good faith. Whoa. And we like finance this film almost entirely outside of the film industry, and except from Unapologetic, but like the rest of it was like friends of friends, family friends, whatever. And I had that was what got us greenlit, is like having the other half committed, and then suddenly it was like these people were out and the movie wasn't going to happen, and I was going to be known to everyone as a con artist. And I was like more anxious about like that embarrassment and like betrayal of like people putting in money, and like not that they were going to get it back, like but it was just like, we're not going to have a movie to show for it,
right?
And so I had IBS for like a very long time. I still get triggered talking about it. People don't talk about it enough. My intestines were inflamed, and
so sorry.
after I get that email from the line producer being like, "You have to tell the crew tomorrow."
Yeah.
I get an email from my friend Chloe Jansen, who was an assistant at WME, saying like, I slipped it to Rob Lowe's desk and he's interested and he wants to meet you. Drive to Santa Barbara right now. Literally 30 minutes after.
Drive to Santa Barbara right now?
And so
okay,
I am a smoker, but I had the feeling that if I like smoked on the way, like he would smell it on me and be like, oh, she's desperate. Oh, like, oh, I don't want to work with this crazy lady. And so I just like white knuckled and made my boyfriend drive while I was like having panic attacks and like reading or like fast listening to Rob Lowe's like audiobook to learn everything there is to know about Rob Lowe.
You have it on like 2x speed.
Yeah. But it did feel like kismet because I'm just like such a horn dog for Coppola and the way he cast The Outsiders, especially with kids, because I love working with kids, that I was like, oh, this feels, I don't know.
Yeah,
no, totally.
It happens for a reason. I also like, don't you think when you're in peril like that, you really lock into something
1000%.
that you are like, holy shit.
I
can do anything.
Because I was so concerned about the money aspect of it that I like literally went, when I got there, I remember looking out at the ocean and there were no waves, but there was a surfer out there. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. No wave is ever going to come back again. I'm going to go back to bartending. Not that there's anything wrong with bartending, but I know how to drink on the job and I don't want to go back to that life.
Well, also when your dream is within reach, like if you...
Literally 5 days from the first day of production.
And I love surfing. I actually think it's really good for my anxious brain to do something that's just like so physically
you can't think about anything else.
100%.
Yeah.
But when you're like, the thing that I've wanted for so long is within grasp, and now I'm scared it's slipping. That's freaking stressful.
You lock into something.
So you had a good meeting.
Yeah, I get there and he's like, he was like, "You look really calm for somebody whose movie's falling apart."
You just start shitting.
You're like, sorry, I have to go to the bathroom.
I turned into Martha Stewart. I literally like channeled Martha Stewart. You could have I swore I didn't have a pop collar, but I felt like I did because I was like, I have this fantasy that I'll be in the edit and it will have been played by who it was always meant to be played by. And then he was like, that's exactly right. When I was directing my movie, all of my actors dropped out. And then we both started yelling about filmmaking. And then we were just like talking about all of our favorite movies and how awful their productions were.
Yeah, I think Jaws is such a classic example.
My God. Every production is a fucking nightmare.
It just became so clear that he was a cinephile and like wanted to take a risk and do something edgy and original. And he was like, everyone's just doing remakes right now. I haven't read something original in so long. And we just like really hit it off. And then he didn't just come on as the principal, he came on as a producer and like helped us make it like legit movie. And then more money came in because he was attached. And then the next morning I met with Gillian Jacobs and she was amazing and like just such a angel of a human being. And like during the fires, she worked with schools in Altadena to like put up their plays in other theaters here, even though like their schools had burned down. And so she just like felt inherently like the role and like a good person. And it just felt really like it was played by, and then Will Brill was there from the beginning. I love him. And then the movie got saved and we were able to do it with Rob Lowe and Gillian Jacobs and Will Brill.
So this wasn't like something we had talked about, but because you're bringing up Francis Ford Coppola, I watched Megadoc last night.
Oh my God, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. It's what you're talking about with the casting process for Outsiders I knew a little bit about, but he did all of these theater games with the Megalopolis actors, and that's in the documentary. And it was, there was a sense of play watching him in the doc that really, I knew I was talking to you today, or we were talking to you today, and I was like, there's a warmth and a play that you have just like as a person, because we met at the screening for the Bullfighter that we did, and I was like, this girl is fucking fun. And like,
we literally were like, oh, she's one of us. Like she's like our same like chaos.
But I'm like, when
daddy,
like, and like when we say chaos, we just mean like it's not
in the best way.
Like there's a sense of like, you don't need to be so, you know how to be professional and you know how to get your shit done, but like you don't need to be anything other than yourself while you're doing that. And I was curious, especially knowing that you studied that casting process, how do you think that you create the environment on set? Like, you've done it on a bunch of shorts and then on the feature, and I know you talked about the kids, but I'm really curious, like, how you like to start the day. Like, do you have a huddle up? Do you, like, what are your steps to be like, yes, I can trust this person as a crew member or an actor, and I understand the vision?
Well, I also like AD, and so I feel like the best sets are when, I mean, this was such a chaotic shoot because of other things, but like everyone meets in the morning and like stuff changes, but to constantly vocalize like what's changing and why, so that stuff isn't just changing and people are, because that was like, and that did happen on the feature, but it was like, it was really great to have my homies there who like, we would huddle every morning and just talk about the day, and stuff would change because we didn't like pay enough to own the school, and so the school would be like, actually, we booked a volleyball tournament this day. I know all your scenes happen in the auditorium, and so we were like constantly, and so it took like for a short, I feel like it's a much smaller crew, and it's easier to like keep everyone in the same wavelength. And for this, when like stuff would change, my poor costume designer Jennifer Eve, she's also a doula, and so like she's
energy.
like been around and has done like legendary TV and like indie film. And she just like took a chance on her crazy asses, but like I really needed her because she was like, okay, look at me, what's going on? And I was like, suddenly I was like giving birth, and I was like, you were like,
I'm ready. Like, it's gonna be okay. She's got me.
I know. She was like,
I mean, you
I'm
were
here to
giving
support.
birth.
I know. But like it was people like that who were just like knew how like lawless indie film is, and like so many moving pieces have to happen. Like it didn't ever feel like it was like, I don't know. It really felt like a whole machine of like tiny cells in this one organism that was this like psycho movie. And then I happened to just be the mouth that was saying like, yes, red, yellow, all. But it was like, it really just felt like if something didn't know what was happening over here, that's when the whole thing would like drown.
Right.
And so it took it took a few days, maybe even dare I say a couple weeks, to like be a moving machine. And then by like, I don't know, it really felt like an experience because of like all the stuff with the location. Literally every day was something. Wow. There was one day where they booked a senior portrait photographer and didn't tell us, and the guy got so mad because we didn't know he was waiting for us, and we were shooting the like outdoor scene between him and the student, and the guy just puts his tripod right in front of our camera and it's like, I have a session here, and we're like, who are you? And then there's like this like scared 17-year-old like senior like next to a tree, and we're like, okay, let's leave her alone. Like, this is like my worst nightmare if I was her. And so we have to like constantly move entire sets because we're at the school the majority of the time. Yeah, we're like, okay, we're gonna do this scene now, I guess, and just like. So it was like constant. I don't even know what the question was. But
no, I think this is it's like, how do you create that environment? Because also like I'm hearing you talk about, there's like the nerves going into something too when you're like, you know what you're doing, but also first time for anything, there's going to be an element of like excitement / fear / whatever. So I think a lot about creating an environment where other people can do their best work as a director. Yeah. And I think that can be hard when you're also stressed out.
I think it's helpful too, though, that you were an actor. So it's like not only for directing, but like for putting on that face for people to hear and see, like to take in the information in a way that they're not going to have a panic attack. Yeah. It's like you're really just like mitigating different types of personalities and way you say things, right?
That's like one reason why I really fought to have my team, because my DP is the only one who ever saw me cry. Like I was like, no one will watch me. Like, and it wasn't even like, I was just looking at him and a single tear fell. I was like, excuse me. And I like
Again, so badass. Actor. Just one tear right or left cheek.
Don't worry about it. I got a second to set up. We're chilling. He's like, go outside, smoke a cigarette. And it was like, I didn't want to smoke around the kids, so I was just constantly had these like lozenges that I was like, while yelling, just like choking. But it was like so probably unattractive. But it was, I feel like I really, really tried to not relay any of the stress to the actors. I'd be like, we're gonna switch things up. We're gonna do this scene now, and I'm just like, I don't.
Like, it's all good.
And then have my people like Alex and I. That like he's a brother because we could fight like siblings in a way that no one would take it personally, and it was just like a thing to have as an outlet. And I can be honest with him. And if I didn't have that, I probably would have lost my mind because I did, but I probably would have been, I think, more visible.
Yeah. Having a partner, like I think,
and a bunch of people that you already trust.
Well, but you know, we were talking to the K-pop Demon Hunters co-writers who worked with Maggie and Chris on the podcast, and I didn't do that interview, but I was listening to it, and I was like, having somebody who just knows you so well going into a process is such a nice thing to have. Like when you're good teammates.
We do that for each other all the time. Like we know all the different moods and how to translate for each other. Yeah. Like sometimes I'll just be like, ADD, and because like, and actually I think what she's trying to say is, and I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Yeah. You know me that well.
But also there's been times when I've like fully short circuited and Carly's like, so I think what's happening for you right now is this. And because her parents are both psychologists, and I'm like, I think you're right. You know?
Yeah, Chu was always my DP. Yeah. Like I am so. I feel like I'm like, what is that like crazy animal? Oh, the brother from the Thornberrys. That's me. Oh, like that's like how, that is how I picture myself on set. And he pictured me as like out of focus because I'm just like always like, and Chu is like. I feel he's like okay, and he would like translate calmly to his crew, and I think it's because I was an actor that I like I'm very like I'm so not paying attention for maybe bad. I should maybe pay attention to how I look, but I just wanted to be like so present with the actors, especially the kids. Yeah.
Yes.
And
because kids pick up on everything.
Yes. And a lot of people like I hate when people talk to them like and I'm just like they're like I just feel like they're adults and they can like they're learning things and that they're learning how to move through the world like from us. Yeah. And so like if we're being direct in a respectful way that is honest, I think that's important for them to be able to like play and not feel like we're playing pretend, but just like actually believing what we're doing. Yeah. And like, I know it's so silly to make a movie and I don't ever believe anyone should like get hurt or be like on the verge of hurting themselves making a movie because it is ultimately just a movie. Yeah. And like it should feel like play.
It should be the most fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this is a silly question because it's like, why do you like what you like? But you said you specifically wanted to work with Alex at school because he was the producer and writer who also wanted to do comedy. Yeah. Were you is that always what you've wanted to do?
Yeah. I feel like rage is my neutral and I'm always angry about all the shit that's going on. I whenever I yell about it and nobody listens, but if I can like subliminally
put it in a joke form.
Yes. Yeah. And make them think about it afterwards or during or like actually call it out. Yeah. I feel like people are more willing to digest it if they can allow themselves to make fun of themselves.
I love that.
That's why I've always gravitated towards comedy.
Yeah. And what about aren't some of your shorts like have like sort of horror-y fantasy sci-fi?
Those are also have like a comedic I love genre for sure, but I always do it through kind of a comedic lens. But like Gremlins is my like number one dream to reboot. So I love prosthetic effects. I love like something that's like so tangible weird. And like delicious like that and bizarre.
Are you a fan of the Muppets?
I never grew up watching them, but I've become a fan as an adult.
Okay, Muppet Treasure Island?
Yes, but I watch a Muppet Christmas Carol every year. Oh. It's my favorite version of a Christmas Carol. Yeah. It's so funny but something about what you were saying about like the tangible quality of it. Yeah. And Scrooge is the only like real actor in it. And he is playing it like it is masterpiece theater. Yeah. Like it's so serious. Yeah. And so just the juxtaposition is totally great.
Yeah. And those elements are the best way to tell very serious things that you are angry about. Like you know, using all of those tools. So yeah, we're on board with you. Yeah. So you guys wrapped. And
Did
then possibly one
Yeah.
day you might have rapped.
I know.
And then what happened? What was your timeline there? Did you guys started editing right away?
We were editing at AFI the entire time we were shooting at Immaculate Heart right next door.
Okay.
And we had to, because of this chaotic schedule, we block shot everything. Often at lunch, I would go up from set to the edit to make sure it was cutting, just because of how chaotic the schedule was. We were doing a lot of scenes in pieces, or we could only be at it was really, Will was like, I have never done a movie scheduled like this. And I'm like, I am
Will,
so
your actor.
sorry. Will
Yeah.
Brill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
How
I was
many
like,
days did you guys shoot it in?
we were supposed to have 25, and by the end of prep it was 21, and by during production became 19. All of our driving footage was done on the way to return the camera. Me driving, two in the back with a giant camera, being like, slow down. Yeah. And then we shot all the stuff in New York illegally, run and gun for free. We shot outside my old restaurant that I used to work at. They let me work there for free. I literally walked in
God bless
the
those
day before
restaurants.
we shot.
Yeah.
And the same manager was still working there. And as soon as I walked in, he was like, what the fuck do you want? Because I shot all of
Like,
my short films
actually?
there. And I was
Yes.
like, I
What
have one
restaurant?
more, Lafayette.
Okay.
It's like right on Lafayette, the Great Jones and Lafayette.
Mhm.
And it,
I've done this also at restaurants that I have worked at too.
Yeah.
What's the point? You know what I mean? That's the point of
Yeah.
working at these restaurants and getting these
I'm
relationships.
a personality hire. and
I'm gonna shoot
and
at
I'm
your
gonna
restaurant.
shoot at your restaurant.
You called your former bosses and the producers your mentors. What do you think makes them good mentors?
Well, I was definitely a personality hire at their company because I was hustling on the side for the majority of my job, but I was a good ear. I was good to chit chat with. And Gillian was very egoless about, I feel like no one should go to grad school. You should just be an assistant. I learned so much. And you listen to every phone call.
Yeah.
And it was so juicy
That's
as somebody
such
who's
good
like
advice.
Mexican and grew up like with like gossip with the family, whatever. It was like my
Yes.
dream job.
Mhm.
And after every call, I would call Gillian and be like, what does this mean? What are they talking about this? And she would just tell me, we'd have like
Wait,
hours.
that's amazing.
And we
that
would
you did that.
literally.
This is
You know how
such
many
good
people are afraid
advice.
to do that?
I
with
would
their
love-
bosses?
I
Yeah.
am so shameless. And it took me a while to get over it because I'm a product of the LA Unified School District. I am dumb and like have horrific grammar. And so I always felt like I always had imposter syndrome. And I went to community college before transferring to NYU. So, and I always was very very shy and to ask any questions because I
Yeah.
always felt dumb.
Well,
and
and
like I didn't
NYU was
belong.
also like I got into NYU and I couldn't go. So expensive.
I know.
Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's there is also, like, to your earlier point about the people who can make shorts there. If
Yeah.
their school isn't paying
Yep.
for it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a disparity of
Yeah.
wealth and access. You know.
Mhm.
It's true. It's true.
Solid
That's why
tangent.
I talked about like the disparity of who was making shorts and who wasn't.
Totally.
Because who can afford, and I was like, I made one there and I maxed out my credit card to do it. And it was
Mhm.
like,
Been
it took
there.
me forever to pay it off, and it was only like $2,500. But
Yeah.
it was like that was my limit when I was in college.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, whatever. But I constantly had imposter syndrome, and then I didn't get over it until I went to AFI because you're making so much there that
There's no time.
there's no time to doubt anything.
Interesting.
It's like you're gonna make a bad movie, get over it. No one cares.
Yep.
And so you just I took way more risk there, and it wasn't my money. It was the school giving you a budget for everything. And you only had 2 years as my second film school, which is already embarrassing. So if I didn't know something, I was going to say, I don't know what that means. and I just got comfortable doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we also started this podcast for that very reason. We
Yeah.
were like, okay, we've been so embarrassed to ask any questions for so long.
Yeah.
So why don't we just start asking the questions that everyone else is too embarrassed to ask?
Yeah.
Like,
Or things they should
literally-
already know. Or,
Yeah. Or what do we want to know? And then we can
Yeah.
like share that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think emotional intelligence goes way further than, I mean, not to
I
say
agree.
you shouldn't study. I'm like, you should.
No,
But like, I
yeah.
think like if you can read a room,
Right.
I think that is way, because I knew when and when not to ask Gillian. And you got to
Mhm.
feel it out.
Yes.
And then at certain points she'd be like, Giselle, I do have a job to do. I'm like, okay, sorry. But you got to be a good hang.
You gotta be a
And
good
you get away
hang.
with being annoying.
Yep.
What did you learn about yourself making the feature versus like probably so much?
With the kids, I feel like you're acting with them and you're
Mhm.
like you're there. And then with the adults, it's like the more I talked, the worse it got. It was like, not to say that I ever got a
no.
bad performance, but I would
Mhm.
ruin everything by talking. And like you could just like they're also collaborators.
Mm-hmm.
They prepared their, and often what they brought was so much better than what the heck I was talking about. And like, it was like so nice to just like let go of the script and like just be present and listen.
Right.
And like everything else is BS, because like even when you watch a movie and you still obsess over like, oh, it could have been this, like no one is going to hear your explanation of what it was going to be.
Right.
Just how like, it made let it go.
Feel what they took from it.
Yeah. Like Gillian was really great about that. Like she was so
Gillian Jacobs, not to be confused with the producer
Gillian Bohrer. Yeah. Gillian Jacobs was like really she was a very intellectually stimulating collaborator, and it was like nice to have like kind of like a nice, like, not like, I don't want to say challenge because I don't want it to come off like negative, because it was so stimulating to like be present
and to work through the scene with somebody.
Yeah. And that was a challenging role because it was it was written from his POV. And so it was like, I didn't want her to just be this like pawn for him as like some kind of jealous motive. Like I wanted her to feel like a person. And like she really gave me that like fullness and in a way where I'm like, oh, I wish that we could have done like a 3-hour version where she had like a full thing and could go against him. But it was like, the whole point was like men don't change, and it was like making fun of them. And so it was like, but I was like, because of my collaboration with her, I really wanted to like, I was like so hungry to expand that role. That I would love to work with her again on something, because she was so fun to talk to.
And it's so funny that you got to talk to the kids and to her.
I know,
like,
what
a joy.
It was a whiplash to go from kids to adults.
Yeah.
Because like kids, I'm what's his name from Wild Thornburys? I gotta look it up because that's all I see. That's who I was with the kids. And like with the adults, I'm like, okay, let's just read it. But it was like, but I was like, I felt more. I was like, just be present, like don't. Especially working with like Rob Lowe and Brill and like Will, who comes from theater and is constantly working.
So fun. A bunch of kids went to Sundance too. Or I guess before I even talk about the actual Sundance experience, what about the lead up to that?
Well, we wrapped August 20th and then had to submit a cut within 3 weeks.
Woo!
And it was so awful. Like, I had 2 editors, which was amazing. One of them, Chris Chandler, came from TV. He did like Dave and Curb and is like used to working like with fast turnarounds. And then Devin from The Short was able to bring a lot of like the tone, and he edited the final sequence of the show. Just knew what I wanted. And often it was funny because Devin was my boyfriend and we had that crazy timeline. Or we're still together, surprisingly. I should say.
I was like,
no, but like, Chris worked long hours for that deadline, but also like Devin didn't sleep. Devin worked 24/7 because we were together.
You were like, are you done with that scene yet?
It was, I know. And it was great because we split it up into like they each got 4 reels, and so it was like evenly split. And then it was
shot on film.
Oh no! But we just like separated the timelines of like this, like we separated story wise of who's doing what, so that there wasn't whatever. And then when I would work with Chris and we felt like it was in a place, I could just bring Devin in, who was in the front of Chris's house working on his section, and be like, can you watch this real quick? And then we'd like discuss that. And then I would work with Devin after Chris would apply the notes. It was just constantly going back and forth, and it was so fun.
Sounds amazing.
But
I love the edit.
So exhausting. I hate the edit. Because you're just like left with no choice but to face all the decisions you made, like when you're having a manic episode.
Right. And you guys definitely didn't have time to go do reshoots. Like, was there anything that was that you would have liked to have done a reshoot, or like something that you just had to really let go of?
The script got rewritten so much in prep for production logistics, where we had like all these other scenes and all these other places around LA, and then it became like more and more contained.
Yeah.
It was more, when I was in the edit, it was like letting go of like what it could have been.
Yeah.
Big working with what you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Sundance of it all. What was that experience like, and how does it take you into what the next step is?
It was such a outer body experience because I still couldn't believe that we made the movie, and we finished it
so fast
the Monday before our Sunday premiere. And it was like watching it with that many people all together. We did like a couple test screenings with like friends and family, but like that many strangers was so nerve-wracking. but we had like 186 cast and crew come.
That's
so
amazing.
That was so fun, and a lot of the kids came, and it was nice to like be able to celebrate because it was it was hard logistically, and everyone was so game, and it felt really special to be like able to have that premiere there.
Yes.
Especially as like
Wild.
my first movie, so crazy, and to be able to like give like the actors that like took a risk on me that, and the financier that took a risk on us that platform for like, okay, like now you have to go sell it. But I'm like, but you got there.
Well, this might be a dumb question, but when you have locked it for Sundance, and that was so quick after, like, are you allowed to make more changes to it if you want to?
Yeah, there's plenty of things wrong with
no, like just like I'm thinking about your timeline and what a perfectionist I am, that I would be like,
no, I was next to Devin the whole time, the other editor, and I was the whole time I was like, it's not loud enough. I mean, the message, we're missing a sound cue. We're missing a sound cue, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
No,
it wasn't until the end. Suddenly there was applause, and like people stood up, and I was like, oh, you liked it? You liked that piece of shit? I was like so overwhelmed by that, and that was the first time I got emotional. Especially when the kids got up for the Q&A.
I saw that, and it made me so incredibly happy. Like it just, what a beautiful,
that was really sweet.
And like the kids got their own standing ovation, and I just like lost. I started crying. They all were like so beloved. Somebody asked them like about their journey, and like Mikey, played by Nevada Jose, who plays the main character's assistant. He was like, when I was born, I was young, and like it just like killed, and then he got like a standing ovation, and he got so overwhelmed, and he was like talking about, it was just so, they were just so honest and cute, and I don't know. So it was really great to give them that, and like to have like the end, because it felt like the end of camp, and it is like when you're an actor, you're like, you get really close and you're like, oh, these are my friends, and then you never see them again, and like there's never that dynamic again, and like the really like forced immediate intimacy with total strangers, where everyone has seen me at my absolute worst, like, and your best, I'm sure. I'm just like full on sick IBS, farting through the production, but like to be able to celebrate there was crazy.
I love that. So okay, it's called The Musical. The short version we saw had musical number. What's your favorite musical?
Probably All That Jazz.
Ooh.
I just love the way he edits his films, and they're so sexy. I'm like, I never met. Maybe that's why I'm with an editor, because I'm like,
it really is.
You really got it going on.
you make it sexy in the edit. The edit. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Pitch for editors.
Yeah.
Are there more
sexy editors?
Sexy editors. Are there more musical numbers in the feature version?
Probably about. I feel like the last sequence is like of the putting up the show is like 20 minutes, but it's not like there's like a montage of numbers. There's one section that is played out in real time.
Okay. I can't wait. Okay, let's end with our hot takes. Okay. I feel like I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, there's so many more questions that I want to ask you. But you're such this is amazing. You're so fun to talk to. Do you have a hot take for us today?
My hot take is that it's actually so basic to be cynical. I'm like, I am so over. I just don't want to work with people who are cynical. I'm like, why are you doing this? It's so hard. Like, if you don't like doing it, and you're like, well, this is how films get made. Well, I'm just like, I don't know why you're here. I think like we are really lucky to do this, and like, especially like putting it together and how hard it was. I'm like, if you're on set and you look like you got goat shit in your front pocket, I'm like, get the out of here.
Yeah.
That's just
amazing.
That's what we say about my grandpa.
That's
because he's always there like this. And we're like, bro, what is in your pocket that smells so bad? Why do you have a stank?
Your shirt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so real.
Yeah.
What's the point? It's hard enough.
Yeah.
It's hard enough.
Yeah.
I guess I urge people, like, share your horror stories, like, for sure, but also maybe keep in mind that, like, sometimes I look around and I'm like, there's some young multiple minds in here who, like, I think should hear the good stories too. So
but that's like when, as we come up and we can create the environment now, we make sure that that's what happens.
Yeah.
Because nobody really above us was making sure that.
And I love hearing the tea. Like, don't get me wrong. Keep telling it to me. But I think to your point, this is really hard and it's also really fun and we get to play pretend for our jobs. And I don't want to ever lose sight of that because that's sort of why I started doing it and get bogged down with like the negativity. Yeah.
My hot take is unrelated. And it's not even really a hot take. It's just like, I have a pitch for the AMC A-List app.
Okay.
I would like...
This is a business podcast.
I've just been thinking about it a lot lately.
Yeah.
Because like we have these like AMC A-List groups where you can like book for each other and see movies with your friends all the time. Could they just add a thing where it's like you see a checklist of like your friends' movies? Okay, they've already seen that. Great. Yeah. Oh, now I know that Vika hasn't seen this yet, so we can go to this. Boom. I like that. Like a more like interactive app. Like I'm trying to waste no time here. I need to know who hasn't seen it yet.
An AMC partnership with Letterboxd.
Yes.
Yeah. They need that. Okay, wait.
And Not Your Daddy's Films.
Yeah, we're here. We're ready. On that, I was watching on Canopy. I was watching Megadoc, and the way that they have their categories on there is really fun. It's like fantasy films for February. And I was like, I want that. Like, yeah, okay, yes, I can like see like a comedy, a drama, like reality TV. But I was like, what if it's like something to watch when you got broken up with, or like something to watch when like you just spent way too much time with your family.
Yeah.
Like miss your family. I want those categories.
Yeah. That's like, you know, The Infatuation, the food blog. My friend is a writer for it. And his like topics are always like where to go on a drinks date if you know this is like from, you know, Raya. Where to go on your boring coffee meeting date. Like where to go on your it's just such funny, but it's so real.
Yeah. Totally. Like I want to make a list on Letterboxd when I go home of like erotic period pieces after Wuthering Heights, because I'm like, I feel like all of the girlies that I saw that with were like, so what else do we like? What else should we watch?
Yeah. List master over here.
I know. Yeah. I love okay, on that note, Giselle, you are such a delay. I can't wait for everyone to see the musical, and thank you for sharing all your insights and experience with us. Like, this is exactly what this podcast is for.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I love the daddies.
Yay. Truly, like one of our, I feel like this is really special. Yeah. It's like you're one of our OG, one of our first ones, and we've got to watch this whole cycle happen. Wow. It's really, cool. Really cool. And we're really proud of parties.
We have a parasocial relationship with you.
We're like our cousin.
Where can people find your work?
Well, I don't know. I'm like, I guess I should put it on Vimeo. I don't know. I find my shorts so embarrassing that I just like keep them in my private Vimeo account.
What about like your Instagram? Like where can the people follow you, find you?
I guess on Instagram.
I'm like, she's not going to share it.
I live in the library at AFI, and my Instagram is in their directory. Hopefully we get distribution soon, and you can go see the musical. My favorite screenings at Sundance were the local screenings, towards the second weekend, and there were like kids. There was one kid that reminded me of the kid from The Incredibles that was like, "This is totally awesome!" Yeah, and like that was like that's who I made the movie for, and I hope that kids can convince their parents to let them go watch our movie.
I love that.
And
amazing. You can follow the podcast at Daddy Dailies Pod on Instagram and TikTok, or NYD Films if you're in LA and want to come to an in-person event. We would love to meet you. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Daddy Dailies is a production of Not Your Daddy's Films, a social impact organization dedicated to educating and empowering women and non-binary creatives in TV and film. If you like what you heard today, click subscribe and leave us a positive review. If you want more Daddy episode insights and to be the first to know about in-person events, follow Daddy Dailies Pod and NYD Films on Instagram and TikTok. Daddy Dailies is edited by Vika Stubblebine and Carly Tamarin. See you next time, Daddy.